Good morning and welcome to Sunday Sunrise. I'm your host, Vicki Carmona. I'm here with Jeannie, who's the founder and president of Milagro Senior Pet Refuge. Good morning, Jeannie.
Hi, Vicki. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in. Now, you are the founder and president of this organization, so go ahead and tell us why you started it and what you guys do.
Milagro Senior Pet Refuge is a 501c3 nonprofit. We rescue abandoned senior pets in poor health. We take the ones that no one else wants, and we rehabilitate them as best we can and try to make up for whatever the past was for them. And we also strive to cast a spotlight on the need nationwide to better care for senior pets who still have plenty of life and love to give and whose lives really still matter. When their aging bodies begin to fail them and they need us the most, they trust us the most, is when we should absolutely never turn our backs on our senior pets. We need to step up and protect and love them even more. And Milagro exists for those senior pets who don't have a home and family support for whatever reason. Milagro is still small, but we've become a recognized resource in the communities about Arizona to help protect and save these senior pets at risk. And we're also working to develop a support mechanism that will encourage and help owners of senior pets to keep their pets healthy and in the home with them for the pet's twilight years rather than abandoning them. How it got started was, like most good folks in pet rescue, I've been rescuing all my life.
Wow.
Yeah. One afternoon about 7 years ago, I was down at the Maricopa County Animal Shelter looking for my next rescue pet. And I decided to linger a while and watch how people actually made their choices. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed was that the senior pets almost always got passed over and were never chosen. And people walk right by their kennels as if they don't even see them. It was heartbreaking. And you know, when a pet doesn't get rescued from the shelter, that's the end of the road for him. He's euthanized. And it crushed me when I realized there that day that these poor old animals who had most likely been part of a family once and devoted their whole lives to someone were going to die. They were going to die alone now in that shelter. And that's when I knew I needed to find a way to change their odds and make the public aware of the beautiful value of senior pets. And so Milagro was born.
Okay. Now, you talk about senior pets because that's obviously what you guys are doing is rescuing these.
Right.
Is this really an issue? Are there a lot of senior pets being abandoned or that are in need of homes? Oh, yes, definitely, especially in today's faltering economy. More and more people are abandoning their pets now for a number of reasons. They may not be able to afford veterinary care for an aging pet or a special diet and medications, etc. You know, sometimes folks just haven't anticipated or prepared ahead for those increased costs. Many families are being evicted, foreclosed on, or forced to move in with friends and relatives into smaller accommodations like an apartment, you know, where pets aren't welcomed, or when an elderly person dies or has to move into assisted living. Those families of that person typically don't want to keep his pet. And then, of course, too often, you know, there are a lot of people who will abandon senior pets just because they want a cute, fuzzy little puppy or kitten instead. Oh, wow. That's pretty sad.
It's a problem in the community, and a lot of people aren't aware of it yet. Animals of all ages are being abandoned right now, like I say, because of the economy and people having to make drastic changes in their lives. But certainly a senior pet is going to need an elevated level of veterinary care at some point as his body ages. And but, you know, sometimes simple adjustments are all that's required to ensure a senior's comfort. For instance, heart murmurs are common in aging pets, but generally they can be very easily managed with a daily heart pill. Cataracts are typical, but if surgery isn't an option for the owner financially, a pet with limited vision can still get around the home just as well as when it could see, and provided you don't rearrange the furniture every day. So you see, simple adjustments can often keep the senior going strong and in the home that he knows with you, where he feels safe, rather than abandoning him in a shelter with very possibly no future to look forward to. Mm-hmm. On the upside of owning a senior pet, the puppy and kitten stage is past. You won't be dealing with a high-energy adolescent digging up your backyard, chewing on your shoes and furniture, shredding your draperies, pottying all over the house, or crying through the night. Seniors are much more relaxed. They're well-mannered. They've typically had some training, and they're easygoing and just don't demand as much attention as the younger animals. They're pretty much happy with just a nice soft pillow, a daily walk, a treat here and there, scratch on the head. And in fact, what I've noticed at the shelters tells me there's an unfortunate cycle that occurs when people make the wrong choices about what pet to adopt. If you go to the kennel and walk the rows and rows of kennels at the pound, you'll see that the majority of the pets sitting there waiting for adoption are only 1 to 2 years old. They're young adolescents. They've just outgrown the cute little fuzzy puppy and kitten stage. And all of a sudden, the owners realize they're too much to handle. They're too ill-behaved, or the owner doesn't have time to put them in training, or maybe they're just not tiny and cute anymore. So they get surrendered to the pound. They may or may not get adopted, and then they face the real likelihood of being euthanized. And this is tragic for younger animals, any animals of any age, to be discarded and in such danger before their lives have even really begun. Had the people planned ahead for what type of pet personality would really have best suited their family and home, they may have chosen a lovely senior instead, who could have blended in more comfortably and been a real success story. And by adopting a senior from the pound, you will have freed up some desperately needed space at the shelter for another younger dog who might otherwise be euthanized just to manage the overcrowding problem. So I encourage folks, before you go to rescue a pound puppy or kitten, honestly assess your home and family situation before you go to the shelter to pick that new pet. As adorable and irresistible as little kittens and puppies can be, you need to be sure you're correctly matching the new pet to you to avoid failure down the road and another unfortunate pet abandoned at the shelter when it's no longer tiny and cute.
Right. That's definitely some good points there.
Yeah.
Now, what about children and senior pets? I always thought that the puppies were more suited for the children because they have more energy like the kids, or am I totally off base?
Well, no, not at all. Seniors are typically pretty good with the little children. Chances are they've grown up in the family with these children, and if a toddler comes along, the child just needs to be taught to respect the pet's place in the home and the pet's aging body. Senior pets appreciate a peaceful, serene environment, and they deserve that. It's not asking a lot. Just like senior people, senior pets don't tolerate noise and chaos well, and they certainly should be protected from poking and harassment by a little child. Mm-hmm. Children should be taught to be respectful of the senior pet and restrain themselves from teasing the pet or surprising the pet, being rough with the pet. Senior pets may nip if provoked, and even if they mean no harm, it puts them at risk for being abandoned then. So parents need to be diligent with children to teach them and to ensure that boundaries are honored for everyone's protection. There's nothing more heartbreaking to see than a poor old confused senior pet sitting in the county pound on death row because it nipped at a child just out of a warning, when chances are the child was most likely bothering it and the parents looked away. So the senior would end up paying with his life through no fault of his own.
Oh, wow, that is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that you say it's very important to provide these pets with very comfortable homes. Why is that?
First and foremost, because every life matters regardless of its age.
Mm-hmm.
Milagro believes that belonging to a family in a peaceful, loving home environment is very life-affirming, in contrast to overcrowded, noisy, frightening shelters with no one to comfort and protect him. It has been proven to us at Milagro through results time and time again that there is tremendous healing power in the simple act of loving kindness. And loving kindness alone has brought many of our seniors back from the brink of death. They've lived very happy lives and been able to enjoy their twilight years. If you visit the Power of Life page on our website, www.milagropets.org, you can read the story of little Jonah. And little Jonah was probably Milagro's most triumphant rescue story. He had been horribly neglected and abused for years and years. And just because the people didn't know how to care for a high-maintenance dog. He's a Shih Tzu. And eventually he was just dumped at the shelter and left for dead. When I pulled Jonah from the shelter, even the veterinarian there tried to talk me out of taking him. She said his condition was so horrible, there was really nothing we could do for him to offset the damage he had suffered. And she said, maybe he has 2 weeks to live. And so I couldn't possibly have left him there. I'm sorry. If he was going to die within 2 weeks, you know, it needed to be in a home. It needed to be in the arms of someone who cared what happened to him. He needed to know that his life mattered somewhere to someone. So I brought him home, and in barely 6 months' time, with lots of love, lots of encouragement, and good veterinary care, the transformation was nothing short of miraculous. There are before and after photos on that page, and if you look at those, you just won't believe it's the same little dog. But Jonah was probably our most tragic case so far, but he was also, I'll tell you, he was also one of our greatest moments. Jonah is like the poster child for what Milagro stands for. And that extreme level of care isn't always needed for every Milagro senior, of course, but every now and then a senior comes to us, and you can just see in his eyes that life has been really, really unfair to him. And with the help and generosity of some very kind folks in the community who have faith in Milagro's mission, we're able to step up and give him a great final life's chapter. My main point for bringing up little Jonah's story is to earnestly urge people, when you go to the shelters, please take a moment with a senior and look beyond what you see, the messy matted fur, the smelly dirty feet, the damage, the toothless grin. His ribs are sticking out because he's, underfed. And just see the little soul inside, really, really see him. And once you reach out to a broken little animal like that someone else has thrown out, and you help restore him to health and comfort, your heart's going to be forever changed. Trust me, you will be changed. And it's the most glorious experience. That's why Milagro places our senior in home, all our seniors in home environments as opposed to shelter situations with a limited number of pets in each home. So each senior gets the focus it needs to help it heal and begin the living process again. We do our best to match the seniors not only to the foster, but also to the other seniors in that home to make sure that the whole atmosphere is harmonious.
Fantastic. Now, you did mention fostering. Is that a way that people can help the organization?
Yes, that's one of our primary needs. Our two primary needs for the organization are volunteers. Without volunteers, we're a rescue that doesn't rescue, of course. Mm-hmm. And the other is obviously cash donation, because the demographic we serve, the seniors, our veterinary bills can be staggering because of such a high concentration of seniors who do need elevated care. So as far as volunteering, yes, we always need more and more volunteers. For every senior we place, there are 10 more waiting. So we need volunteers long-term to take seniors on an ongoing basis, and temporary fosters who can also help us with, intake and evaluation, say for 2 weeks or 2 months, and until we find permanent placement for that senior.
Since you guys are a pet refuge, are you guys adopting these animals out to people who are already interested in senior pets?
Rather than adopting those senior pets out and losing track of them, we like to recruit people to become a part of the Milagro family, the Milagro project. And that way, we are there to support the volunteer. Because, there can be emotional challenges, there can be financial challenges as the pet ages, and we're always there to back up the volunteers and support them. And you've got the organization behind you at all times, and that also ensures that the senior will never end up back in a shelter on death row again.
Oh wow! Well, that's fantastic. You guys are definitely helping these animals get a second life almost.
We're doing our best. We're doing our best.
Now, let's talk about the people out there that might have to give up their pet, their senior pet. What should they do?
If you have to give up your pet for whatever reason, please, please, please contact a rescue organization for help or guidance. Never dump a pet in the desert or on the streets. That is an absolute death sentence. He is a domestic pet. He depends on you for his care and protection, and he doesn't have a clue how to survive out there on his own all of a sudden, to find food, protect himself from traffic, people who would hurt him, diseases, and even to protect himself from, the heat and from thirst. All he knows and all he will try to do is find his way back to you, because that's how he's wired up. He trusts you never to hurt him and never to leave him. So he will most certainly die trying to get back home to you. So please, please never throw your pet out. There are so many resources available, so many ways to get help without sacrificing your pet's life. Also, besides just Milagro, there are many, many rescue organizations in the valley and surrounding communities that you can call for help. But also, when you call for help, remember to give yourself time for the process to work. We're rescuers. We're not miracle workers. And rehoming a pet doesn't happen overnight, especially the way the economy is now with everybody tightening their belt. Mm-hmm. So if you fail to plan ahead, and all of a sudden, say, you realize you've come up against a deadline and you've run out of time, chances are you're going to end up surrendering your pet to the shelter, where, as I mentioned earlier, chances are very good your pet's going to be euthanized, no matter how adorable or well-mannered he is, simply because the shelters are overcrowded and they just need the space. So if you must give up your pet, please let your last great gift to him be your commitment to place him into a safe and loving home. That's the last great gift you can give him, and send him on his way safely with love.
That is great advice. Now, people out there that are listening, maybe they want to donate, maybe they want to get involved with Milagro, or maybe they have even just a few more questions about adopting a senior pet and how to go about doing that and what to look for. Is there a website? Is there a number that you can give out?
Yes. Our website is www.milagropets.org. We have a toll-free number, 888-827-4103. And you can contact us through the website, or you can contact us by phone and ask questions. If we aren't able to help you, right now Milagro is full. We're small, we're full, and we're actively recruiting more guardians. But until we, get those on board, we're limited as to how many seniors we can take in. But if we are full, we will try to help you. We won't just send you on your way. We'll give you a referral. We'll do what we can to help network your pet, find him a home.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, Jeannie. It sounds like you are definitely doing some work that's very near and dear to your heart. Is there anything else you want to say to the listeners out there?
Well, as I said, we really need fosters. You can donate to Milagro also using our PayPal feature on the website, or the cash donations can go to our P.O. box, and that's how you can support. And I would also encourage everybody, and this goes for pets of any age, spay, neuter, microchip your pets. We cannot stress this enough. That's the best way to manage pet population. We're trying to turn the communities in the nation away from euthanasia as the first choice for pet population control. Spay, neuter your pets, microchip them, and keep them healthy when it's young, and it's going to enjoy a healthier old age. Vaccinate him, give him a good diet, clean his teeth, give him exercise, and lots of loving.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Jeannie.
It's my pleasure. Thanks a lot for having me.